Who
already
did?
chose them. I got rid of them.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well,
Bye.
I'm so excited. I finally met somebody from Second Life in real life. Geo, our videographer, and
Oh,
I
wow.
met for lunch and some pool. I said, Geo, I haven't played in years, but I love pool. And he said, that's not a problem. Come on. And I was horrible, absolutely horrible. I was so bad that eventually he said, look, you can shoot my balls. And now he's in the hospital. He's on his laptop trying to video. So, but anyway, it was very fun. And he does look just like his avatar, really, except for when he took his hat off, he didn't have the mohawk. But other than that, he really does resemble his cute little avatar.
Aww.
All right, a little girl and a little boy are at daycare, and the little girl goes up and goes, hey, Tommy, you want to play house? And he says, sure, what you want me to do? She goes, I want you to communicate your thoughts. He goes, communicate my thoughts? I don't know what you're talking about. And she smirks and goes, perfect, you could be the husband. This guy comes home and he goes, honey, I invited a friend home for supper. Are you crazy? The house is a freaking mess. I didn't go shopping. The dishes are dirty. I don't feel like cooking a fancy meal. And the husband's like, I know all that. She's like, well, why the hell did you invite a friend for supper then? He says, the poor fool's thinking about getting married. A bunch of women are at a local coffee bar, and one lady's talking about the perfect mate for her. And she goes, the man I marry's got to be a shining light in company. He's musical, tell jokes, sing, stay home at night, every night. And this old lady overhears it, and she stands up and she goes, honey, if that's all you want, just get a TV set. You know why it's so hard for women to find men that are sensitive, caring, and good looking?
Why?
They already have boyfriends.
Mm.
You know what the psychiatrist said to the naked man? Well, I can clearly see your nuts. What happens when you mix human DNA and goat DNA? You get kicked out of the petting zoo.
Oh, that's terrible.
I know. I loved it. I love that kind of stuff. It's terrible. I bought a new deodorant stick today, too. The instructions said remove the wrapper and push up the bottom part, so I can hardly walk now, but when I fart, the room smells great.
Oh my gosh.
You hear about that funny guy? He accidentally took some Viagra instead of his vitamins. He became a stand-up comedian. All right, this one's worse. This is worse than the last one. You know why the chicken crossed the basketball court? He heard the referee was blowing fouls.
Oh.
God, that's bad. Two guys are talking, and one guy asks the other guy, hey, what's the definition of a will? And the other guy goes, I don't know. And the first guy goes, come on, it's a dead giveaway. Wait, you know the best thing about duct tape? It turns no into This guy's out shopping, and he finds a new brand of Olympic condoms, and he's really impressed, so he buys a pack, and he gets home, and the wife is like, Olympic condoms? What makes them so special? He says, there are 3 colors. There's gold, there's silver, and there's bronze. She's like, well, what are you going to wear tonight, honey? He says, gold, of course. He's all happy. She goes, why don't you wear silver? It'd be nice if you came second for a change.
Oh.
In the year 2222, Mike and Maureen land on Mars. They had frequent flyer miles. And they meet this Martian couple. They're talking about all the things on Mars and Earth and asking if they have a stock market, laptops, how do they make money, etc. And so Maureen brings up sex. How do you guys do it? And she asks. Well, pretty much the way you do, the Martian said. So they decide they're going to swap partners for the night and experience one another. And, well, Maureen goes off with a male Martian in the bedroom, and he strips down. He's got this little teeny weeny member about a ½ inch long and a ½ inch thick. And she's like, I don't think this is going to work. He says, why? What's the matter? And she goes, well, it's not even long enough to reach me. He goes, not a problem. And he starts slapping his forehead with his palm of his hand. And with each slap, the member gets bigger and bigger and longer and longer. And she goes, wow, that's pretty impressive, but it's really narrow. And he goes, not a problem. He starts tugging on his ears, and with each pull, his member gets wider and wider. And finally, it's very exciting looking. So they jump in bed and make passionate love. Well, the next day, they rejoin their normal partners and go their separate ways. And Mike goes, well, was it any good? And she says, I hate to say it, but it was pretty freaking wonderful. How about you? And he goes, oh, it sucked. All I got was a headache. She kept slapping me on the forehead and pulling my ears the whole night. One day, Mr. Smith, he's the president of a large corporation. He called the vice president, Dave, in the office. And he goes, look, we're making cutbacks, so either Jack or Barbara's going to have to get laid off. And Dave looked at Mr. Smith. He's like, God, Barbara's my best worker, but Jack's got a wife and 3 kids. I don't know whom to fire. So the next morning, Dave's waiting for them to arrive, and Barbara came in first. And Dave's like, Barbara, look, I've got a problem. You see, I've got to lay you or Jack off, and I don't know what to do. And she said, well, you better jack off. I got a freaking headache. This construction worker on the 5th floor of a building, he needed a handsaw, and he sees this worker way down on the ground screaming to him, but he can't hear him. So the guy on the 5th floor is trying sign language. He points to his eye, meaning eye, points to his knee, meaning need, and then he moved his hand back and forth like a sawing motion, and the man on the ground floor nodded his head, pulled down his pants, and started whipping out his chop and masturbating. Well, the guy's so pissed off on the 5th floor, he runs down and he's like, what the fuck is your problem? I said I needed a handsaw. And the other guy's going, I knew that. I was just trying to tell you I'm coming. Did you hear about the guy that got hit in the head with a can of soda? He was lucky it was a soft drink.
Ooh.
You know, this man just assaulted me with milk, cream, and butter. How dare he?
How dare he?
And when William joined the army, he really disliked the phrase fire at will. Atheists don't solve exponential equations because they don't believe in higher powers.
Ooh, there you go.
When the window fell into the incinerator, it was a pain in the ass to retrieve. And some police were called to a daycare where a 3-year-old was resisting arrest. A small boy swallowed some coins, taken to a hospital. When his grandmother phoned to ask how he was, the nurse said, no change yet. You know, I did a theatrical performance about puns. Well, really, it was just a play on words. And yesterday, I accidentally swallowed some food coloring. The doctor says I'm okay, but I feel like I've died a little inside.
Ooh.
And I saw a beaver movie last night. It was the best damn movie I've ever seen. And last but not least, when the cannibal showed up late to the lunch, they gave him the cold shoulder.
Ooh.
Ooh, it sucked. Thank you.
All right.
Very nice.
Uh-oh, we lost Lauren.
Lauren just crashed.
No.